Let's look at a few more examples of using the quadratic formula to solve quadratic equations. So to use the quadratic formula, what the first thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that our equation is in standard form, in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. If it's not, we're going to have to undertake some work to make sure that happens. The next thing that we're going to do, and these are just important steps to work error-free, is to take out your values of a, b, and c, the coefficients. And then we should be writing out the formula. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all of that divided by 2a. Now, as we work through these, the reason why I would approach it like this is because I'm trying to avoid an error. Let us begin with this first example. What we may notice here is that our equation is sort of all over the place. We have components on the left-hand side, components on the right-hand side. Basically, we need to make sure that one side is equal to 0, and hopefully it comes out in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. So allow me to add 8x to both sides. Pardon me. Allow me to start that over again. Allow me to add 7x squared to both sides. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to undo it by adding 7x to both sides. And what we recognize is that there's x squared on the right-hand side. So x squared plus 7x is 8x. So now on the left-hand side, to get rid of that negative 4x, I'm going to add 4x to both sides. So I have 5x on the left-hand side. Last but not least, I have my constant 8. I would like to get rid of this 8 on the right-hand side, so I'm going to move it over to the other side, and I'm going to subtract 8 to both sides. So there we have it. There's my equation in standard or general form. The most useful form, I'm going to pick out my coefficients. A is equal to 8, B is equal to 5, C is equal to negative 17. I'm going to write out my quadratic formula. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all of that divided by 2a. When you plug in those values, x is equal to negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 5 squared minus 4, a is 8, c is negative 17, all of that divided by 2 times 8. We're going to have to work with our radicand, and it's going to be a little bit of a long process, a lot of multiplication and adding fairly large numbers. But the result will be x is equal to negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 569, all of divided by 16. Okay. So that calculation, you might have to do that calculation as an aside, but it's just really simple arithmetic with larger numbers. Let's go on to this next example. Well, remember what we need to do. We need to make sure that our equation is in standard form. It's not. One side needs to be equal to 0, and we really need to multiply through. Nowhere in this form are there factors. So I'm just going to multiply or I'm going to expand the left-hand side. So that would be 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x. 1 times x is x, and 1 times negative 1 is negative 1 is equal to 5x, and we're almost there. So I'm just going to clean up the right-hand side a bit, so 2x squared. I'm going to collect my like terms here. So negative 2x or plus x yields negative x. Minus 1 is equal to 5x. Now, I'm going to perhaps let one side equal to 0, and I'm going to subtract 5x to both sides. So I end up with having 2x squared minus 6x minus 1 is equal to 0. So I'm going to plug in those values. A is equal to 2, B is equal to negative 6, C is equal to negative 1. And I'm going to write out my formula. You know what? That's going to cause me an error. I'm just going to plug in my formula down here. Then I'll worry about it. So x is equal to negative 6, which is positive 6, plus or minus the square root of negative 6 in brackets squared, minus 4 times 2 times negative 1. All of that divided by 2, and the a value is 2. When we simplify this, now let me work up here. This is x is equal to 6 plus or minus the square root of 44 all over 4. Now, I've done my calculations ahead of time. You don't need to see me do some calculations. I'm just going to write it out. Now, please recognize that I could write this out as 6 plus or minus 2 root 11. I can simplify my radical 44 into 2 root 11. And I'm just going to divide that by 4. If I divide both top and bottom by 2, I end up with the result x is equal to 3 plus or minus root 11 over 2. So there we have it. Another successful answer. Different flavor, though, this time. Let's move on to perhaps our final example with the quadratic equation. I need to make sure that it is in general form or standard form, whatever you want to call it. Essentially, one side has to be equal to 0. So I'm going to add 7.7 to both sides. What I'm able to spot out is A is going to be equal to negative 9.81. B is equal to 13.3. C is equal to 7.7. This is only one way that you can solve the equation. No matter how you rearrange your equation, provided you'll do it correctly, you'll end up with the same result. So it's really foolproof. So I'm going to plug this into the formula. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all that divided by 2a. And when I plug that into the formula, it's kind of big and nasty. I'm not going to lie to you. Now, I did a really bad thing here, and I didn't even read the question, did I? I just jumped into it. I got so excited. But I'll come back to it. I'm on a roll. Those are big numbers, and this looks like calculator work. It's incredibly important that you're able to get your calculator to come up with the solutions. Each calculator is going to be working different, but the solutions to this are negative 0.43, and since we're rounding to 2 decimal places, 8. And the second solution is 1.79, 3. So what we have is we're going to use our calculator and we're going to round to 3 decimal places. So when we round, actually, we call these approximate answers. Approximate solutions. Because they're only, no matter how many decimal places you hold, it's still going to be an approximation. Allow me to work through this. I think this is going to give people a lot of headaches. Again, it really matters which calculator you have. Some things that I may suggest to you if you're having a hard time, calculate the numerator first and calculate the denominator. So it's numerator divided by denominator. And you can do that by putting the numerator in brackets, putting the denominator in brackets while you're using your calculator. If you have any issues, let me know, and we'll figure it out. What are some benefits for using the quadratic formula? It's a formula. Everybody loves formula. So you plug it in and calculate. It's super fun. It's, I would say, solves any equation. That's pretty fantastic, even ones you can't factor. So this always works. Well, what are some drawbacks? I find it is fairly laborious. It takes up a lot of time just by plugging in numbers and order of operations, whereas if you solve an equation by factoring, it's much more efficient, much more intuitive. Whereas this, you're just plugging in a formula and hoping for the best.